Missouri's highest court hears arguments from a death row inmate convicted of sexually assaulting and killing a 10-year-old Southwest Missouri girl. And a conference in Southeast Kansas takes a look at the state of the local housing market. KOAM News at 10 is next. Now at 10, Missouri's highest court hears arguments to overturn a death sentence for the killer of 10-year-old Haley Owens. Plus,
from serious candidates to cartoon characters, write-in candidates are impacting election counts in Southeast Kansas. My name is Mitch Adams, and I'll have more on that story coming up.
And partial SNAP benefits return, but some recipients say the hurdles remain.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Missouri Supreme Court hears arguments today that could spare the life of a man who brutally abducted, sexually assaulted, and murdered a 10-year-old Southwest Missouri girl. This is KOAM News. I'm Dow Quick. The victim, 10-year-old Haley Owens from Springfield. The 4th grader went missing walking home from a friend's house on February 18th of 2014. Investigators later found Haley's body in plastic storage containers in Craig Wood's basement. She had been shot in the back of the head and showed signs of being tied up. Wood, a former teacher's aide and football coach, was sentenced to death in 2018 after a jury convicted him of first-degree murder. Wood appealed his death sentence multiple times. In 2019, the state's highest court upheld both his conviction and death sentence. This morning, during the latest appeal to the Missouri Supreme Court, Wood's legal team argued the jury never heard from Haley's mother, who wanted Wood sentenced to life in prison instead of the death penalty.
The jury never got to hear what, in fact, Haley Owens' mother wanted, but they got this different perspective that, in fact, she wanted death, and heard all about this community impact as well.
As I recall, some of the pleadings that I've seen throughout the course of this case have made the assertion that the family wanted a life sentence. In fact, we only know the wishes of one member of the family, that being the mother. We don't know what anybody else in the family wanted.
The case sparked national attention and led to thousands attending candlelight vigils for Haley, including one in Joplin. Her family's advocacy also resulted in Haley's Law in 2019, which allows police to issue Amber Alerts faster. The Supreme Court took today's arguments under advisement and will hand down a ruling at a later date. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for our first look at the weather.
It definitely turned out to be a great Wednesday for us today. Not as windy as what we had on Tuesday, but it was still breezy out there, and we still have northeasterly winds, kind of 5 to 10 to 15. These winds are going to start to pick up once again on your Thursday out at the south, and that will help our temperatures warm up. Clear skies, not much going on. Pretty calm night as we drop back mid to upper 40s. A little cooler in our northern counties, a little warmer once you get into our southern counties. As we go into Thursday afternoon, a little bit warmer, 73, 74 degrees for afternoon highs. And then we start to get some clouds in here tomorrow night and then into Friday morning. But still Friday, I think we'll go into the 70s for highs. Official high today was 70, average high is 63. Big cool down by the second half of the weekend. We'll look at that here in a bit.
See you soon. Election night turned into election morning for a couple of Southeast Kansas counties this week. The reason? A flood of write-in candidates that delayed ballot counting until well past midnight. KOAM's Mitch Adams explains how write-in votes can slow down the entire election process.
In a local election, if no one runs for an open position, it is up to the citizens to write in a candidate to do the job. But with that comes potential delays, slowing down the process of verifying election results. Out of the 2,249 registered voters in Woodson County, 450 ballots were cast, with over 200 of those ballots voting for a write-in candidate.
If a name is written in and they can tell that was the intent was to vote for that person, we still have to count it even if our machines don't count it. And so that takes a significant amount of time.
Oftentimes, people will fill the line with a fictitious character or nickname, which could have an effect on how fast finalized results come out.
That's where our write-in board kind of can determine, like, they'll still list that person, but when we're going through and doing our voter checks, we know, like, Donald Duck doesn't really exist. And so, we'll be able to establish that and have it on our records that, yes, we did have this vote, but they're not an eligible person for that position.
Most Kansas counties will certify their election results within the coming weeks. Reporting in Woodson County, Kansas, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
We emailed questions about similar delays to the Bourbon County Clerk. We're still waiting for a response. As the government shutdown continues, families who rely on federal programs are running into some new challenges, not just with food assistance, but with some everyday services. For one Joplin mother raising a child with autism, even getting to medical appointments has become a struggle.
Full-time mom, and I have 5 different therapies a week to go to with no transportation and medical transportation. Since the government shutdown, I've noticed a delay in placement for who can pick us up. A lot of the times they just schedule us with Lyft, and we'll be stuck out in Kansas for 4 hours because the Lyft won't want to pick us up. And medical transportation is basically just saying, sorry, we're doing what we can. And I understand it's not their fault, but it's impacting not just adults.
Crosslines in Joplin has seen the bigger need firsthand and has expanded how often families can pick up groceries. The Community Foundation of Southeast Kansas hosts its annual grant celebration this evening at Memorial Auditorium in Pittsburgh. The event granted $676,000 to 85 organizations through multiple funds. One of those, the Rita J. Bicknell Women's Health Fund, which granted $62,000 to 18 organizations. The Women's Health grants support programs that improve women's well-being, including fitness initiatives and essential items for women in need.
Especially given the current environment, it's rewarding to know that we're helping support great work from nonprofits here in Southeast Kansas. When funding may be, a little volatile right now, that we're a stable source of funding for nonprofits in our area. And tonight we get to hear some great stories about the work they've done in our communities.
More than 40 Southeast Kansas communities will benefit from this year's awards. Hundreds of students at McDonald County High School will take a look at potential career opportunities. That story's coming up. But up first, the state of housing in Southeast Kansas.
In Chanute, it's the Southeast Kansas Incorporated Housing Conference. I'm Kenny Foreman, and I'll give you an inside look coming up.
Southeast Kansas attracts plenty of workers, but many go home to other states at the end of the day. The reason? A lack of housing options. Well, this week, community leaders are gathering to tackle the challenge. KOAM's Kenny Foreman shows us their solutions.
For a region as vibrant as Southeast Kansas, housing can tend to be a complicated subject.
A lot of times we can't depend on all the various programs out there, be state or federal. So we got to figure out ways to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. And so what we're hoping today and tomorrow is to share other communities' ideas and how they helped facilitate it, how it was funded, who made it happen.
As Southeast Kansas becomes an increasingly more attractive place for people to come and work, this also creates a common sentiment among the community that there needs to be more housing options for those people to live.
They're coming in from other states and other counties, they're working here, and then they're going home. It's up to us to come together to put a housing system in the entire Southeast region that keeps them here when they get that paycheck.
A major goal of the conference is for the leaders to take the ideas and concerns being expressed and start thinking about what they can do for their community.
We've had a lot of questions from city officials and manufacturers. Those are the two industries that need to know that the cities are being provided for as far as housing, and the manufacturers need to know that economic developments like myself are on top of housing.
One speaker was Coffeyville City Manager Ben Brubaker, who is actively working to ensure that there is enough financial support for continuous growth in the city.
Coffeyville has a sales tax with a portion of that devoted to housing, and so we're out trying to partner with everyone we can on how can we utilize those funds to best incentivize that growth and development that we need in the housing area.
In Chanute, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
In addition to housing, SEK Incorporated also works to come up with solutions when it comes to workforce development and child care. They represent city governments from 12 counties throughout Southeast Kansas. McDonald County, Missouri high school students explore their futures at a career fair today. The event connects young people with opportunities in industry, military service, and higher education. Organizers say the diversity of fields at the fair benefits the students.
Well, I think it's important to be diverse because we are diverse, and our students are diverse, our interests are diverse, and so I think it's important that we fulfill each student's interests and that we show them that you have a chance to be successful out of high school and that you have a future.
About 750 students were expected to go through that career fair. Doug returns next with a complete look at our forecast. And a little bit later, Special Olympics athletes in Southeast Kansas hit the ranch today.
It definitely turned out to be a fantastic Wednesday for us today, and it looks like we're going to get a couple nice days, maybe even 3 of pretty good fall-like weather across the region. It's calm out there for us tonight. We have clear skies. We're going to stay calm as we go through the overnight hours. No rain in the forecast over the next few days, but temperatures kind of up and down, a little bit up as we go through tomorrow afternoon. Chilly start, 43 in Nevada, but 50 in Bentonville, 48 in Miami, 43 kicking off in Chanute. Let me take you through the noon hour. Mid to upper 60s to mid 70s once you get into our southern counties. Now, I think most of us on average about 73 for an afternoon high as we go into Thursday afternoon. All right, so we get some clouds in here tomorrow night and into Friday morning as a weak front starts to head toward us and push through, but still we're going to go into lower 70s for highs by Friday afternoon, and even Saturday I think our temperatures are pretty good. Then we start the plunge downward as we go through the second half of the weekend. All right, so our winds are going to pick back up tomorrow. Watch them shift. They're going to shift to the south once we get into Thursday and start to pick up. So we're going to have some gusts at times, probably 25-ish, maybe upwards to 30 miles per hour as we go through tomorrow afternoon. It's not going to be as strong as what we did see yesterday. 51 to start, 69 by noon. High temp on your Thursday of 73 degrees. Let's jump into 4-state Friday night. High school football, playoff football, 65 at kickoff, 58 once we get into the fourth quarter of games. So overall, it looks pretty good for high school football. All right, so no big storm systems. We have a zonal flow, meaning we have no big systems across the region. So overall, it looks pretty good. Now, by the second half of the weekend, you're going to see a wave right there. Digs in, takes some snow across Iowa, could even give us a few flurries, but it really cools us down Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Once we get to Wednesday and Thursday, that cold air retreats. We warm back up, then we go again. Next weekend, here's another big wave that is going to shift in. So at least we got some weather action to at least watch as we go through the next 10 to 14 days. All right, Saturday still good, upper 60s, but check this out. Saturday night with this wave, we may get a few flurries. Not super atypical this time of the year, but yeah, we may get a few. And then look at the colder air dives in. We're going to stay in the 40s for highs on Sunday. We go into lower 20s as we get into Monday morning. As we go into Monday afternoon, we stay into the 40s for highs, and then we start the climb. We go back near 60 on Tuesday, and then we should once again go into the upper 60s to near 70 by the time we head into Wednesday. So kind of an up and down pattern. All right, 73 tomorrow, 72 Friday, 69 on Saturday, and then a high of only 45 on Sunday, down to 24 Sunday night, high of only 49 on Monday, back to the 60s by the middle of next week.
Some chilly weather ahead, Doug, thanks. Still ahead, Webb City battles St. Pius in the Class 4 state volleyball tournament. Highlights from that matchup coming up next. And we're going to showcase the bond between one Pitt State football captain and his younger brother, whose journey at PSU is just getting started. A key for Pitt State's football success this season is coming the secondary with a lot of veteran experience. And for one redshirt senior corner, his last run with the Gorillas means even more. KOIM Sports Director Ryan Blank has his story.
For Jalen and Josiah Fuchsa, football has taken their bond as brothers to another level, dating back to their days as kids.
I feel like he's my best friend. I feel like off the field we're kind of the same person. We're really quiet. You know, we just committed to playing football and just trying to get to the next level.
It means everything to me. You know, I'm blessed. I have someone, you know, that's always competing next to me, you know, looking up to me, trying to fill in my shoes. He's my best friend, you know, just being around him all the time, you know, even as kids. You know, I'm just grateful he's here.
2025 is Jalen's final season with the Gorillas as a redshirt senior. But this year is even more special, sharing the field and donning the crimson and gold with Josiah, who's a freshman.
It's been great, you know, ever since we were young kids, you know, we always pushed each other, you know, we always competed. Being here at Pitt State at such a high level, you know, still doing it since we were kids. So, you know, I'm just grateful and blessed. Every brother duo, you know, they always dream about being on the same team, you know. Again, I'm just blessed. You know, we had the opportunity.
Ever since I've been here, since he's been here, I always felt like it was home, but it's like home was already here because he's here and he's family. So it's a memory we're gonna remember for the rest of our lives, honestly, because not a lot of people can say they played college football at a great program with their older brothers.
As part of his last dance with Pitt State, Jalen was named a captain by the team, an honor that says a lot about his character.
He's one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. He's a guy that stays after practice, stays after workouts, gets some extra work in. So him being that type of person is probably what earned him, you know, that role as a captain for us.
Jalen is a 4-year starter for the Gorillas after redshirting his freshman year. Looking ahead to next season, Josiah has a chance to follow in his brother's footsteps as PSU graduates most of its secondary.
We graduated Dallas Flowers, who went on to the NFL. Graduated Jordan Hendy, who was an all-conference player for us. So there was a lot of opportunity, you know, for Jalen in his redshirt freshman year and ended up starting for us in 2022. And, you know, Josiah and all of our young corners are going to be in a similar situation this offseason. You know, we're going to graduate 3 senior corners.
I feel like I definitely have an advantage over most freshmen, honestly, in the country. I get to come into a powerhouse school such as Pitt State, and I have a brother who's been a 4-year starter. We play the same position. It's just a big blessing to be able to play with him and honestly just train with him, see the type of dedication it really takes to reach that All-American level, 4-year starter level. So he's honestly like the blueprint of something I want to become.
For head coach Tom Anthony, he sees a lot of the same player when watching the Fuchsa brothers, generating excitement for Josiah's future.
Both of them were elite returners, you know, in the return game, on top of being really good cornerbacks as well, and obviously getting really, really good football players out of the, you know, the Dallas Metroplex. So when you can pull kids out of an area like that play at a high level in high school, you know you're getting a really good football player. And we know Josiah Fuchs is a heck of a football player, and I'm excited to see what he does here for the next, you know, 3 to 4 years.
Jalen and Josiah are focused on the rest of this season while cherishing their time together on the field. Reporting for KOAM Sports, I'm Ryan Blank.
The Gorillas return to action this Saturday in Warrensburg against Central Missouri. The Missouri Class 4 state volleyball tournament continues today with the semifinals as the Webb City Cardinals battle the St. Pius Lancers. The Cardinals defeated Marshfield in the quarterfinals last Saturday. Starting with third set, Webb City trailing 2-0, and the defense comes up with a play. Boom, Jaylee Van Beesler denies the spike attempt. She had 5 kills in the set. Cardinals leading later in the game, and it's the defense again. Kaylin and Jocelyn Maxwell combine for that block as Webb City takes the third set. The fourth set would go back and forth. Cardinal Savannah Crane fools the defense with this touch for the kill. Webb City still hanging around off the Lancer serve. They go to the senior Marley Harper, and she brings the power with that spike for a kill of her own. But St. Pius advances to the title game with a win in 4 sets. Cardinals will play in the third place game tomorrow. And that's it for sports. We're right back after this.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. It looks like a pretty calm night for us tonight. Temperatures are going to be dropping back into the mid to upper 30s, so a little bit on the chilly side. Great Thursday, 73 by the noon hour. I still think we'll go into the 70s on Friday as well. Even Saturday looks pretty good, and then turning sharply colder by Sunday.
Simple as 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Doug. More than 100 Special Olympics athletes spent the day at Orion Ranch Sanctuary in Arcadia, Kansas, experiencing an event organizers call Hearts and Hoofs. Special Olympics Kansas partnered with the ranch, giving athletes a chance to meet rescued horses, donkeys, and other animals, many for the first time. Participants also enjoyed games, music, crafts, and time with volunteers, all in a supportive and welcoming environment.
cornhole, we have a DJ, we have Jenga, we have bracelet making, we have a karaoke going on, and meeting the horses, which is the main part.
Gotta love meeting the horses. The partnership began only 6 months ago, and both sides say they hope to continue expanding opportunities like this for years to come. That's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.